Okay, so we're gonna try to make this. Let me give it a second. All right, so we're gonna try to make this quick, fast, in a hurry because I know Art New Style is on, and I actually had plans to come on before Art New Style, and yeah, and they got plans. You want to make God laugh? Show him your plans. So right, so this is as a response to something Sarge Willie Pete put up a couple weeks ago, actually. um and so let's just go into it. So I'm doing my own thing. So this has not been sanctioned by Sarge Willie Pete, right? This is my own thing. This is, but I'm reinterpreting it, this thing, Mr. Z's way, with my weirdo left perspective. And I'm using some of what a recent interview that I've watched, and excuse my background, a recent interview that I watched with a couple of white manosphere guys, including Chronic, right? That Sarge Willie Pete was mentioning. Um, and so, and shout out to Victor Creed. Thank you, Victor Creed, for being in here. So let's go through it. Um, this is why Mr. Z has a left perspective. It's because of where we are socially and economically, right? And how the economics affects what's going on socially. Sarge Willie Pete, shout out to the brother. Brother, I've been listening to you for over a decade, forever, it feels like. Right? Like I said, back in the Avenue Rants days when you and Avenue Rant went back and forth. And I was listening to you before then, right? So yeah, it's been a long time. And so let's call a thing a thing. Half of these white guys don't mean it, right? Sarge Willie Pete called it out, right? I'm sorry, y'all, just a loser in traffic, just being a loser in traffic. Okay, so the economics of it all, and white men just getting a taste of what black men have been suffering through for decades, since slavery, but for decades. And you can actually even see this in their commentary oftentimes. And the particular panel that I watched, because I listened to Sarge, and I'm going to link everything later. So for those of you that, I'm going to link everything that I'm speaking about in the description box later. But, a couple of these manosphere guys, white manosphere guys, you can see, first of all, let me say this to white men in the white manosphere. Black men are not coming to take your stuff. If and excuse me, I'm gonna be using profanity in this one. If shit hit the fan, trust me, black men already know y'all got guns. Y'all live in the middle of nowhere. We already know you've been waiting to shoot them guns forever. You've been waiting to kill a nigga forever. We already know. We know y'all are waiting for us to flee the cities and try to come and take your shit. We're not coming to take your shit and butt fuck nowhere where you live. Okay? Black men, at least black men in large majority, particularly black men in the black manosphere, we ain't coming to take your shit. We're not to come in to take your women. We're not coming to do anything to your kids. We know you've been we know you got 30 million guns, 8 zillion bullets, and we know you're waiting. We know, right? So for the most part, those guns you won't be using it against us, right? So unfortunately for you, those guns won't be getting much mileage. Unless it's the other way around and you're planning on using those guns to come into the inner cities to come get at us. Now that's a whole different conversation now, isn't it? But if you think we're gonna go to BFE, wherever the hell you are, in the Midwest, in the South, right? Somewhere in the northern west, right? Northwest Pacific area, we're not coming to come take your crap and butt fuck nowhere. We're just not. I don't know what is, white men are so obsessed with this idea that black men are just waiting. Yes, we're gonna come and take your stuff. No, we're not. No, we're not. We don't care. We don't. Number one. Number two, you can see it's interesting how systems work, right? So these same white men, first of all, I agree with Sarge Willie Pete 100. Let's also bring this up. Y'all are so hyper obsessed with whatever cabal of evil lefties that are diddling children and have little, I don't know what y'all think, sex orgy with children thing y'all think is going on in these major cities with these political figures. And maybe, not that Mr. Z has ever seen, but I'm not, one of these people. I'm not higher up, so whatever. But it's some weird cabal of things that's going on. Y'all just don't want to say what it really is. White rich elite men, the type of men that many of you wish you were. Yeah, they created a worse version of capitalism called neoliberalism, and they took everything off the table. Beginning, end. You don't have to have some secret cabal of evil lefties trying to diddle children. No, stop it. Y'all swear it's, and I'm not saying that there's no, just like Sarge Willie Pete said, and shout out to this brother once again, I'm not saying Sarge Willie Pete co-signs anything I'm saying right now. But just like Sarge Willie Pete said, I'm not saying, let me don't put words in his mouth. I'm not saying that there aren't these people somewhere, the Epsteins of the world, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. What I'm saying is y'all are playing that way too much up instead of just calling a thing a thing. Rich, white, racist elites screwed over black people, black men namely, and then they came after your stuff. And let's be honest, many of you, if you're old enough, and your ancestors were clapping it up for those people until they came for yours too. They're gonna come for mine soon. They're gonna come for yours soon as they're done with mine. Maybe y'all, so you thought this was gonna be regulated to lower class men, right? Black men, uber poor white men, certain Latino men. You didn't think it was gonna come for you and your working class income and your solidly middle income. Right? And now y'all coming up with it's the weird lefties and the no, stop. Right? These eyes wide shut parties, I know exactly what y'all think over there in that weird circle. Y'all think black people and other people are just the shit is gonna hit the fan. We're gonna run out of the cities into rural areas, wherever the hell y'all are, and we're gonna try to steal your shit, all the stuff you've been hoarding for 10 years. Whatever women and children you got at your house, we're gonna try to do something. Bro, y'all really want to see the zombie apocalypse just to be justified in your weirdo stuff. Number one. Number two, the race talk. Now, I'm not fresh and fit, so I'm not going to blow smoke up y'all ass with the whole, who's really oppressed is the white man. Stop. Straight up, y'all know it's bullshit, but y'all love to hear when black men do that. Who's really oppressed? The white man. That social justice crap, really, that whole anti-social justice warrior crap y'all on, really got y'all smelling y'all own farts. Let's call a thing once again. Rich, white, elite men saw what happened with the feminist movement. They saw what happened with civil rights. They saw what happened with the hippies. They saw what happened with the anti-war movement coming out of the late 60s, early 70s. And they said, we gotta dead all of this. The guys that, and y'all can't say black people had anything to do with that. Coming out of the Jim Crow era, where were the black people at the table to make these decisions? No, it was men that look like you, men that many of you aspire to be, who screwed everyone, including you. You didn't think it was going to happen to you. Your fathers didn't think it was going to happen to you. And if your grandfathers are young enough, they didn't think it was going to happen to you. And it did. So y'all go around blaming everyone. Spain, man, exactly. They go around talking about BLM more than we do. Y'all go around blaming weirdo, queer, left-leaning black women. You trying to tell me weirdo, queer, left-leaning black women got all this power? You think it's BLM? Yeah, the problem is BLM and the Soros and da. Bro. It really is that simple. Rich, white, racist, elite men say we're going to dead all of this. This is messing with our money. It really is that simple. Y'all don't need the tinfoil hat conspiracy theory stuff. Right? Y'all are all into the weird conspiracy. I'm listening to this panel, and I don't want to say the names of the guys outside of Chronic because, Sarge mentioned him, but it was him. It was a couple of other very notable white manosphere guys, and I listened to the whole thing. And it's just a smart. All of these people keep. I'm libertarian, and I'm no. You're the same stereotypical white conservative men who thought Trump was gonna do something and he didn't. Y'all like the rhetoric. He was never gonna do it. This man was born with a silver spoon up his ass. Y'all thought he was gonna be your champion? Are you serious? The rich white elite man from New York, you thought he was gonna be your champion? Yeah, he's not in the inner circles of some of those lefty elites in the Northeast. Yes, you're right. He's not in the inner circle of that. But he told you straight up on the first debate with the rest of the Republican panel, I donate to both parties because when I call, they answer. He said that. Coming out the gate, he said that. And you thought he was going to look out for you? See, this is when white guys get into their little egos. White working class men. Man, I done had conversations with these guys. The weird stuff that come out their mouth, you'd be like, there's no way you really believe that. They really believe it. Because that's how they rationalize the most simple, basic concepts. Capitalism is eating itself. Neoliberalism put a market-based value on everything, and your women started seeing you more and more, not just as a provider, but a walking wallet. And yet there's a difference. They started dehumanizing you. As nothing, because black men saw it. Oh, let me once again do this. See, the video I made maybe a month ago now, maybe a little bit more than a month ago actually, where I said like, welcome to hell, white men. Welcome to hell. When our ancestors were trying to tell your ancestors what was going on in the black community and what was coming down the pike, you laughed and you shot us nothing but respectability politics. Well, if you just work harder and do these things these ways, then you'll get respect from your women. 50 years later, what happened? Huh? And you see it because the white guys in the white manosphere, boy, do they run from race talk. Oh, they run from race. They'll imply some racist stuff, but overtly saying, yeah, we should have listened to black men. You ain't never hear none of them say it. Yeah, you know the black men were right. They'll imply certain things about Keisha, right? You listen to their videos, boy. They won't tell you that. They'll say the leftist empowered Keisha. No, the leftists and the right empowered the worst of black people and white people. Right? It's all these government programs and set-asides. Stop. Like I said before, these politicians sold us out. They sold us out to who? We already know black people don't got no money like that. Black people don't own no corporations like that. They sold us out to who? All right, fine. White elites on the left and the right sold out working class people. Fine. The white politicians sold out. The black politicians sold out. Fine. Okay. I'll even give you that. The black politicians sold out. Sold us out to who? Fine. They sold us out. They sold us out to who? Once again, we know black people don't got no money. Black people don't own no banks like that. Black people don't run no corporations. So who did they sell us out to? I agree with Sarge Willie Pete. Y'all have nothing but respectability talk when it comes to black people. It's interesting, and I was going to say this earlier, I forgot. It's interesting how the white guys understand systems when we talk about family court and divorce court. It's interesting how they understand systems then. It's interesting how they understand systems when we start talking about women entering college at the 60-40 split. So 60% of college enrollees are women and 40% men. It's interesting when they understand how the systems function on us when we talk about those type of things. Once we start talking race, all of a sudden white men don't know what we're talking about anymore. All of a sudden, I have an Irish great-great-grandparent. Don't understand nothing. Racism is just an excuse for the weak. But when we talk about divorce court, family court, how boys and men have been disenfranchised over the past few decades, they understand systems real well. You inject just a smidge of race, they don't know what the hell you're talking about anymore. So deal with it. And I'm sorry your fantasy won't be fulfilled of the shit hit the fan and black people, namely black men, start running into Nowheresville where you live, trying to come and steal your shit. We know you're waiting. We know you're waiting with them guns. We know you're waiting. We know you've been waiting to pop them guns at us for decades. We know. We know you hoarding guns. We know. We know you have rations for years in your storage. We know. You forgot why black people moved into the cities in the first place. It's because your ancestors were terrorizing us. I wasn't supposed to say that now, was I? Your ancestors, especially the ones in the South, not saying the Northerners weren't bad either, were terrorizing us, and there was no government. See, those police officers that were supposed to be doing their jobs, they were part of the KKK too. We lifted up them hoods and saw police uniforms. Now the police just torch the hoods and just walk around with the police uniforms. Right? So don't worry. They're not, these black folks are not going to run from New York to Kentucky trying to come steal your stuff. They're not. They know you're waiting. Y'all refuse to call a thing a thing. Y'all keep on playing with the weird conspiracy theory. And let's say, okay, there's some weird old lefties in these major cities diddling children. And they're paying Keisha to shut up about it with welfare checks. Whatever conspiracy theory y'all believe. Cool. That's a handful. Yeah, it's bad. Clearly. But you got a whole entire system. White supremacy, white supremacist capitalism, neoliberalism, that's screwing over everyone under the top 20%. And y'all don't got nothing to say about that. And it started screwing black people over first. Y'all, okay, y'all are too young. You weren't aware. Your parents didn't say anything about that. And now you are of age and you still don't say anything of it. right? See, the most open kept secret and black people notice, and black men namely understand this, is white folks were perfectly good with the system screwing over black people. Y'all didn't have nothing to say about that. All you supposed libertarians, really just white conservatives that are not mad, that are mad that it's not conservative enough. Show me a white libertarian and I'll show you somebody that's really conservative, really. Y'all don't have anything. Understand how systems work, really want the government to be as small as possible, want more states' rights. You know what black people hear when we hear states' rights? KKK. Neo-Nazis. Because you know that's the same thing the South fought for during the Civil War. And yet there were no neo-Nazis during the Civil War. You know what I'm saying. Whenever I hear white folks say smaller government, move these things to state government, all I hear is, oh, so you trying to get the feds not to deal in y'all shit when y'all start stepping on niggas. It's not always about race, Mr. Z. Name a day in U.S. history it wasn't about race. I'll wait. All that small government talk and state government, I know exactly what that is. So I'm not even, excuse me, I'm not even going to be too long-winded with this. But these white guys in their commentary about what's going on in this country, in Western society in general, it's interesting. They understand systems. They understand feminism. They don't got nothing to say about. Lee Atwater told you what it was with the Southern strategy. Y'all gonna pretend like it didn't exist, right? Ehrlichman told you how Nixon targeted the black community. He said it on his deathbed. Ehrlichman said it verbatim. Y'all don't got nothing to say. So eat cake. Right? All these elite white men screwing y'all over now, and you could have stopped it. You could have stopped it back in the early 70s, in the mid 70s at least. You could have been, and I know many of you were barely being born. Your parents could have stopped, your fathers could have stopped this. But let's be honest, your fathers were clapping it up for the cops busting black people's head open. Then y'all were born in somewhere in the 70s, in the early 80s. And y'all were perfectly okay with watching black people, black men get screwed over all through the 80s and the 90s and the early aughts. And now that it's coming for you, you don't know what to do with yourself. Say that. Victor Creed, exactly. Victor Creed says, and thank you for the super chat, Vic. Victor Creed says, they want small government but want big government, law enforcement, and military. Small government, but most welfare states are conservative. From my understanding, the state that receives the most government assistance in that way is what, West Virginia? If I'm not mistaken, it's a southern state. All that talk. You know, on this, I'm not trying to kiss the left's rear end. Y'all already know my politics. But if we really cut out left-leaning states out of the union right now, the right would die tomorrow. Because outside of Florida and Texas, for the most part, right-leaning states ain't making no money like that. And I got to be careful how I say this, because if you look at the country by county, there is no left-leaning state. Right? If you look at the country by county, there is really no blue state. Right? But I want to be very clear what I'm saying, and I'm not really in this conversation. It's not really a left and right as much as it is like these supposed white libertarian commentators in the white manosphere talking, putting on their tinfoil hat when it comes to these weirdo conspiracy theories about what's going on in these major cities. And then they're not being honest that really it's just that the white elite took everything off the table, and that's your real issue. It's not it's not all this cabal of like even Jewish folks, or even where black politicians and nah, corporations, bro. Corporations bought your politicians, and it happened because we allowed the Powell memo to become like law in DC and in Wall Street, and there you go. Fast forward, 50 years later, and we're here now. And shout out to Dardar, excuse me, Dardar. Shout out to Dardar. Dardar says, if you can convince the lowest, exactly, the Johnson quote, I love it, thank you. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, exactly. And he said that, what, in the late 60s, the mid 60s or something like that? The mid 60s. Let me say this to the white guys. They pulled y'all card since Bacon's Rebellion. They knew what y'all were about. They've been knowing what y'all about for a few hundred years. Working class white men. Elite white men have known how to play y'all for centuries. You could argue for millennia, because this really go back to Europe on y'all ass. But if we want to start it with American history, fine. They've been knowing how to play y'all for centuries. So what is Mr. Z saying? What Mr. Z is saying is you got to be more... And none of these guys are dumb that I'm particularly speaking about. I'm not saying their names for reasons, but, when I'm ready to get at them for real, I will. And I will say their names. But you hear them, and these people have big channels. Right? Victor said the liberal state's economy is that of mid-tier nations alone. California has the 5th largest economy on the planet. And I'm not saying that to brag, and I'm not from California, born or raised. I have never been to Cali. Right? But if we're going to have an honest conversation, you have to be honest that the corporations bought the politicians. The elite white guys bought the politicians. And I'm specifically mentioning race because I don't want anybody to say the elite. Which elite? Which elite? Y'all think we got black elite left and right like that? Why? Because of Barack and Oprah? Stop it. Jay-Z? Diddy, who just got on the billionaire list? No. I'm purposely, and shout out to the brother Professor Black Truth, when he says white media, he makes sure to stress it. No, not just the media. No. There's no the media. White media. White banks. And so right now I'm saying white elites. So let's be clear. Let's make sure we say this so everyone can know. White guys, This is on you. This is on you more than anyone else. I know y'all like to blame feminists. Yo, look, I'm in the black manosphere. We talk about these feminists all the time. The black ones, the white ones, the Latino ones, or Latina ones, excuse me. The Asian ones. We're no friends of feminists over here. But if you're gonna be on, most of everything going wrong in America is at the feet of white men. Y'all like to claim y'all run stuff, but when it's time to be honest about who did this, and I'm also speaking to the black conservative brethren, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. You think white men won't do the same thing to black men that white feminists did to black feminists? You think if there's some type of social program to help working class men, middle class boys and men, some type of weird affirmative action to help men, you think white men won't try to take 80 some odd percent of that off the table, 90% of it off the table, and let black men squabble with Latino and Asian men for the rest of the 10%, if even? You think white men won't do it? Right? You think what I'm trying to see, K Dot said that I read his comment. I don't know why don't we, oh, okay, because I was excuse me. I was in the excuse me, wrong window. Mr. Z said it's funny how they're getting their passport ruining, oh, excuse me. It's funny how they're getting their passport running away from the West, the Western women they've created, LOL, since their country. You, bro, you, dear white men, you did this. I know y'all, oh, it sounds bad. I know y'all don't want to hear it. I know there's working class and poor white men that say, I didn't do it. Yeah, but let's be honest. You low-key kind of tacitly agree with it. You just wish you were the one. I'm around y'all. I'm around you when you big up Trump because you like his rhetoric. You like that he gives a middle finger to the system. Right? And shout out to you, brother, 18th letter. He said, keep speaking. Fire, Mr. Z. Thank you. And thank you for the super chat. Let's be honest. Y'all agree with that. Y'all love it. Y'all living y'all loved Trump because y'all got to live vicariously through him. That I don't give a F attitude. The sass. The buying his wife. So yeah, you weren't around when these things happen. Yeah, you're not part of the white elite circles. But you low-key clap it up for the ones that you agree with. And then Rolo acting like he don't know why there's a black manosphere. And some of our conservative brethren acting like they don't know why there's a black manosphere while they're in the black manosphere. Yeah, they might do some collabs with the white guys, but most of your audience is black. And when I say most, not 51% most, like 90% most. And I'm not Myron. I'm not going to blow smoke up y'all ass and start saying, you know, I think the white men are the most oppressed, you know, victim mentality and social justice warriors and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Right? And I don't see race and da-da-da-da-da-da. I just heard Andrew Tate say that. I'm like, oh, well, there we go with it. That shit sound cute until them white boys check your ass and remind you, yeah, you're not them. When they make that sly racist comment and y'all eat it, or when they ignore the plight of black men specifically, you know what they've been doing. And I can admit, over here on the left, we're over here with the weirdos, with the purple hair, and, you know, some of the alphabet stuff that's going on. I'll admit it. I'll admit it. And if I snapped my finger tomorrow and all of that changed on the left, guess what you would still have to deal with? All the people like BlackRock that buying up all the homes. Like I said this on a previous video. Okay, snap, Mr. Z snaps his finger. Thanos snap. And no more purple hair white feminists. And no more social justice warriors. All of that's gone. It's gone. No more Nancy Pelosi. No more none of that, right? The squad is gone. All of that is gone. Bernie's gone. All of that's gone. Guess what you would still have to deal with? See, now you don't have to worry about the weirdos being your next door neighbor because you still don't got a house. Because BlackRock bought it and put it on the renter's market for $3,000 a month. For $2,500 a month. So you don't got to worry about who your neighbor is. You don't got a house. Right? You know what you still got to deal with? The corporations and the elite and the uber rich, wealthy, white elite men, white men, buy into politicians. Trickle down economics, right? Shout out to AB Media, P on me economics, excuse me. So we could Thanos snap away the entire left in America. You already have, what, 400 people, 400 families or something like that, own half the wealth of America? What? Or they're equally as wealthy as the bottom half of America, something along those lines? Let's go through the numbers again. 40% of your Americans can't afford a $400 emergency. 60% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Your average home price is some $400,000+ a year. Your average new car price is some almost $48,000 a year. Used car price is some $35, excuse me, $1,000 a year. Your average, excuse me, used car price some $30-some odd thousand. If y'all don't stop all this weirdo, just call it, and I'll end with that. Dear white manosphere guys, call a thing a thing. The people that look like you, the same mindset that you have, is how we got here as a country. Stop claiming libertarian. You're really just the extreme right winger. I believe in small government, and you know, I want this power to move to the state. And the federal government, y'all think the federal government is going to allow power to seep back to the states? Outside of the country becoming super, I mean, we're already, excuse me, fractured as hell. These same people that be claiming, oh, these people are virtue signaling, these people are virtue signaling, those people are virtue signaling, are watching as DeSantis and Abbott bring in immigrants and then send them to, air quotes, blue states. Like I told y'all, there's really no blue state, but blue states. Like, that's not a virtue signal. You know, low-key, they should get hit with human trafficking. They could get hit with human trafficking. If somebody really wanted to press them, I mean, didn't we see this in a movie? Right? Hunger Games, y'all forgot the whole plot. Hunger Games, no? Y'all remember the feds won the fight in Hunger Games, right? That's you know that yeah, that's what, and that's when they chopped the country up. And yeah, no, y'all, okay, right? And all those guns y'all have is for black folks and for poor folks that when the cities run out of food, we're gonna run to your areas. Let me say this again. What story was I watching years and years and years and years ago? They thought this white retired military man was selling drugs from his home. The dude didn't even get a shot off. They accidentally killed him. They killed him. He didn't even get a shot off. Like I said, if anything happens, it will not be black people running to the middle of nowhere, Kansas, Kentucky, right? Wyoming, wherever the hell y'all are. Idaho, somewhere in Nowheresville, Texas, right? West Texas. Somewhere in Nowheresville, Colorado, Missouri. We're not coming to try to steal your stuff. Somewhere in North Central Florida, we're really not. We already know you're waiting. We already know you have guns. We already know you've been waiting to shoot them shits at us for forever. So to all the white manosphere guys, okay, feel the burn. Feel the burn. The same people that want to play down racism, the same people y'all are watching as Texas and other states play down slavery in their history books for kids, and I got the nerve to talk about what type of eyes wide shut type of thing is going on in these major cities that these politicians and wealthy people might be engaging in. George Soros. Ugh, yawn. This, y'all got to do better. I'm sorry. Y'all just got to do better. And these men aren't dumb. I don't see race. I don't see color. And y'all love to bring on the black guy that's going to tell y'all the same thing. I don't see race. I don't see color. Yeah, this racism thing. There's a victim mentality. And The same people complaining about how the system's screwing them over, talking about victim mentality. If y'all don't get y'all loser asses the hell up out of here, racism, 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 what racism? Right? So I'll truly pause right there. Yeah, I got triggered. Yeah, Mr. Z admit I got triggered. I saw that video from Sarge Willie P. I finally finished it. He put it up a couple weeks ago, and I thought about the video that I watched, and I'll link it in the description. But Telescope, I ain't even gonna read it out loud, but for real though, right? But yeah, I thought, and I'll link it, like I said, in the description, and y'all will see the people that I was speaking about, and they're on their little panel talking, and we all worked with white guys, white collar or blue collar. We all see when they kind of do the little, they take little like semi-racist jabs. I know I said semi-racist. I know for many of you it don't make sense, and for some of you it make perfect sense, right? They say everything but them niggas, right? They talk about states' rights. They start talking about the weirdos and the conspiracy theorists, and they put on their foil hats. And they don't say the most blatant, and I think in this video they actually did, and one of them actually brings it up occasionally. But let's be honest, your elites, your corporations bought the politicians. The politicians are doing their bidding. Before we even start talking about all the crazies on the left, the people that look like you and think like you put the entire nation in this predicament. It wasn't black people. You could say what you want. You know we don't got that power. Even post Barack Obama, we still don't got that power. Condoleezza Rice, Loretta Lynch, name them. Colin Powell, we still don't got that power. Susan Rice, we still don't have that power. Oprah, Jay-Z, we still don't have that power. And you know it. So in other words, if we don't have that power, then who put America in this position? White people, namely white men. Exactly, Victor. Shout out to Victor. Vic said, remember, corporations are people too. Y'all look at Reagan as the second coming of Jesus Christ. Could somebody tell me who bought us no-fault divorces again? Ooh, goddamn, Mr. Z. And who took the neoliberalism coming out of the Chicago boys and Milton Friedman? Yeah, Carter kicked it off, but who took that shit and turbocharged it? Reagan. Before Clinton even touched it. As a matter of fact, Clinton had to adjust his direction and call this whole thing the third way. This is where him and Tony Blair and Britain come in because of Reagan and Thatcher. Right? But y'all worship at the altar of Reagan. Because he was the biggest dope boy in U.S. history. Ooh, Mr. Z, you said it. So I'll truly pause right there. But for you white manosphere guys, yeah, you could kick rocks with all this crap y'all talking. Y'all can't even be honest about U.S. history and how if your ancestors would have put the brakes on some of this stuff when it was screwing over black people, I won't even go all the way back to the 50s and 40s on y'all. We could start the clock in 1970. But if your ancestors would have put brakes on it and then you would have put brakes on it, we wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. But y'all continue to deny anti-blackness, racism, white supremacy. Keep on bringing up the one or two weirdo black people that kiss y'all ass and say, yeah, racism, what's that? Victim mentality, and I think white people and white men are the ones who's really getting it the toughest now. You keep on bringing them on, fine. Deal with the consequences of this not moving forward because nobody want to hear about the plight of white men. Y'all don't even know good enough to use black men. At least white women knew good enough to use black women as the mascot for their movement. At least white women knew enough. You don't even know enough. Right? And I'll truly pause right there. I'm so livid right now. Whenever we get into the conversation about race and these white guys talk, and I'm not, they didn't do anything they don't usually do. I'm not saying that. But after listening to, and once again, Sarge didn't co-sign this. I just listened to his video and then I remember what I was listening to a couple days ago And I'll put the link for both of them, by the way, and y'all to see the white characters that I'm speaking about. And I just, I'm at work and I'm putting two and two together, and I just, you know, Mr. Z mind start running a million miles a minute, and I just start thinking about these dudes and how they speak, and just they're the tinfoil hats, and and I have enough food for this, and I'll ration that, and when these cities decay, and man, nobody coming to get your shit. We know what y'all about. We've been knowing what y'all about. That's why there's a black manosphere. You know, and Anime Muscle. I'm gonna put the links in the description a little bit after I end the stream. Give me a few minutes, but I'm gonna truly pause right here. I need to do some stuff, but yeah, man. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Yeah. It needed to be said, and I actually might produce go back to some of my old format and actually cut out some stuff and produce an actual video speaking about this and why I'm so animated when it comes to this subject, right? Particularly when we start talking about race and stuff like that. There's a reason why I sound this way. There's a reason why I speak about the white guys this way. No, I don't think all white people are racist, white men namely, but like I said, there's a reason why I speak this way, and it's mainly because whenever we start talking race, everybody start copping pleas. And even the white men who are suffering under this system, not giving an F about them, still refuse to at least acknowledge black men got screwed first. Black men are getting screwed the most, and we could have maybe stopped ourselves from being screwed this way if our ancestors, if our fathers, or if our forefathers would have put the brakes on some of these corporate takeover, some of this anti-blackness coming out of the corporations, coming out of these politicians, we would have not got screwed over as much. And even as we started to come of age, if we would have aligned with these people earlier, maybe we wouldn't be here. But once they start putting on their tinfoil hat, and start talking about Jews and all that other stuff, and George Soros and all that, man, there's something to be said about the small hats, yeah. But y'all need to stop blaming the small hats for everything. Most of those people that screwed over this were WASP. Your normal, standard, non-Jewish white person. Y'all can cut the crap with that. Because last time I checked, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos are not Jewish. Instead of Bill Gates building them tech schools and over here, what did he do? Jeff Bezos got y'all peeing in bottles. So y'all could cut it with that. And Mr. Z, I'll pause right there. Right? Mr. Z out. Like I said, love, peace, and chicken grease. Don't y'all be having no real animosity to your everyday white guy that y'all might be working with. I'm not saying all white people are racist. I'm just saying these particular characters that I'm speaking about, yeah, I'm not saying they racist and anti-black. I'm just saying. And I truly pause right there. Yeah, y'all get what y'all get. I'm just saying. All right, y'all. Mr. Z out.